Derby County face up against QPR tomorrow. We've already previewed this game in a video yesterday. Make sure you check that out if you have not done so already. But in this video, we're going to talk about why I think Derby County need to make some changes and give some opportunities heading into this one, because we don't really want to be going into the international break with 4 back-to-back defeats. Derby County, as you well know, have lost their previous 3 games. They've been beaten by Sheffield United, Norwich City and Sunderland. And all 3 teams are well poised to be playoff contenders or promotion contenders this season. And that's obviously something which Derby are going to have to contend with over the course of this season. There's obviously going to be a bunch of those teams that are going to be quite a lot better than us over the course of the campaign. And that isn't something to be disappointed about, isn't something to be upset about, because Derby County are a newly promoted team. I do think out of the newly promoted teams, I think we're probably second best at the moment. I think Oxford have had a really, really good start to the season. I think Pompey, on the other hand, haven't quite got going yet. I think their transfer window was okay, but nothing special. I think Oxford brought in a ton of players. Some are going to work, some won't. You obviously look at someone like Louis Sibley, who left Derby County to join Oxford United. He's not exactly had the start to life he wanted. But for me, going into this game versus QPR, I think what we've got to do is we've got to be on the front foot. QPR are a couple of points behind us. They're not necessarily, they are a threat to us because they're 2 points behind us. A win puts them above us. And it's one of those for me where we have to go all out. We have to go into this break knowing that we did everything we could to win this game. I don't want none of this sort of sitting behind the ball. I think QPR are a team who can be got at. I think they've shown that over the course of their last few games. I think there's a lot going on at QPR. Obviously, their new manager and a couple of other people have been given brand new contracts. Karamoko Dembele, his deal's been made permanent. Obviously, it was an initial loan signing, and it's one of those for me where QPR have a really good squad and they're in a bad run of form right now. And I think we've got to take advantage of that. And if we don't, it's disappointing, not just for us as Derby County fans, but also for the players. We know there's an opportunity here. You look at it with the likes of Cardiff, beating them. That was a massive opportunity. Beating Middlesbrough in the way we did was unlikely. Beating Bristol City the way that we did was also very unlikely. So for me, it's massive heading into this one that we get back to winning ways at home. Obviously, we're currently sitting on 9 points. I think we need 50 to be safe. 41 points away. There's a long way to go in this season and there's loads of points to play for. It's not as if those 40 points are impossible, but we need to pick up this victory this weekend, in my opinion. I think, obviously, I did my team prediction yesterday, bringing in Corey Blackett-Taylor and keeping Marcus Harness in that number 10 role, bringing Forsyth back in. I think is an option which needs to be looked at. I think if you go to that 4-2-3-1, you can have Adams as the breaker of play, you can have Kenzo as the dictator. Harness can be that fancy footwork player in behind the striker, which gives Jerry Yates a little bit more support than what he's had over the course of the recent games. Because I think if you look at the Norwich game and you look at the Sunderland game, I don't necessarily think either Jerry Yates didn't get the ball enough to utilise what he had around him, or there wasn't enough supply around him in the likes of someone like Marcus Harness or Tawanda Chiwa on the game versus Sunderland. I just don't think you can play those two together, because I don't think either of them are speedsters, and obviously Jerry Yates also isn't. So for me, you've got to have a quick 1 or 2 players around Jerry Yates to sort of benefit what he can do with the football. And I think if you have that Marcus Harness player or a Tawanda Chiwa or a Kenzo Holdmine in that number 10 role, literally staying in the 10, then I think it could be a massive advantage for Derby County to pick up the ball in really nice areas. And you've got them runners of a Corey Blackett-Taylor or a Caden Jackson or a Nathaniel Mendez-Lang, who are going to be making those runs down the wing. Obviously, it's going to be difficult for Derby. We obviously know that Callum Elder is out injured, which means Forsyth will probably play at left back. I personally don't think we should be playing the 3 formation at home, which we played versus Sunderland. I understood why we played it versus Sunderland. It's one of those where you've got to go and try and defend as well as you can, especially versus one of the best teams in the division. And I think for the most part we did defend well. We was just a little bit sloppy in possession, and obviously at home being sloppy in possession isn't something which is going to be taken very well by Derby County fans. And that's something which we will improve on over the course of the season. I think Paul Warne's done a really good job so far. It's something which we obviously are building this season, and I think obviously we've had the takeover talk and things like that, and I do think that with a bit of spending power, this squad could be excellent. I'm not saying we should go and spend £10 million on a player, but if we had a budget for January of £5 million, I think that would be massive to bring in some real quality, probably an extra number 9. I think I am going to make a video talking about the summer transfer window, and then I'm going to make one looking ahead to the January window and what I think Derby County need to do at this moment in time during this international break, because there is a few things that I've pinpointed over the course of the last few games where I think Derby County are lacking a little bit. And obviously, with losing David Ozo, it's been a massive show of what we are missing in the midfield. And I think if you look at, obviously, Jerry Yates up front, we don't really have a second striker to bring in. Paul Warne doesn't seem to want to give James Collins the opportunity this season. Dejan Brown isn't necessarily getting the opportunity either. So there is going to be a massive opportunity at some point for a Dejan Brown, for a James Collins to break their way into this team. Obviously, I don't want Jerry Yates to get injured or suspended, but at some point, one of those things may happen, and it's about having a player ready to step up and be capable. And I personally think at the moment, we're not setting up Dejan Brown to be ready to make that step. James Collins, I don't particularly think is necessarily match fit. To come in if that something was to happen. Yes, he keeps well looked after away from the pitch and things like that. But when you're talking about things like that, you've also got to acknowledge what is going on the pitch. And obviously, football fitness and other fitness are completely different. Being able to be agile and things like that. And I've seen a few people mention that James Collins should come in for Jerry Yates for this game, and I personally disagree with that. I don't think James Collins has the movement, mobility, or even speed to be able to do the things that Jerry Yates does to keep up with play, or even to bring players into play as well as Jerry Yates does. Now, it's obviously going to be a big talking point over the course of this weekend. We will have a match day vlog out tomorrow evening, so make sure you do stay tuned for that. Make sure you've hit the subscribe button and turned on the notification bell so you see when that video drops. There's a lot to talk about with Derby County. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I think this weekend's game is going to be an absolutely important one to head into that international break with a little boost of confidence. I think there's a world where Derby County can come out of this international break and go on a really good run. I think we've got a pretty decent set of fixtures coming up next. I think this one is the biggest one. Obviously, heading into this break, you want to go in off a win, so you're going in confident. And I do think that is something which Derby County can do. And obviously, we've spoke about it in this video. It is a must-win game for me. You can let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell. Make sure you smash the like button as well, and I'll catch you in my next video. Find me on TikTok, pictured here, and Twitter, pictured here. These are the places where I'll keep you all up to date with all my upcoming videos and my thoughts and feelings around the Formula 1 and football weekend.